it kind of comes into the argument of like what certain tiers of player are entitled to. You got your free to play, your light spenders who just do the pass. You got your people who like one step above that, you do just the cards. Well, you do the pass and the cards, and then one step above that is like you know your true middle class where you might spend like $50 a month on polls or something like that, or just buy the orb packs, and then above that you're talking dolphin where it's like $100 a month. Maybe you will spend just enough to just get that S unit that you really want. I would say that's dolphin. And then of course whale is like I'm gonna max the S unit that I want. Where you spend anywhere between $500 and $1,000 per S unit that you want to max. So um, and there's this whole debate about like which of those tiers should the game developer be beholden to the most. And I guess that's a question. That's what we can talk about. They have to make money. They have to continue to make money. They can't just make content and have people play it and use their server space for nothing. So, and there's a cost to um, not only everything that they do, but also in any RPG, everything that you do as a player to continue to progress your account, modify it, customize it, clear content, advance your units. Um, yeah. Anyway,
Well, it's one of those things where I've said before, and I've agreed with other people that the monetization of the middle seems to be where it's hurting the most. Nobody's going to say, well, you don't really get a lot of value for the $5 battle pass or the metal cards. The metal cards, you buy one metal card for 1K, or you get a couple for the pack for 4. You get 2,100 gems worth of pulls out of those every week. That's pretty decent value. The orbs, the packs they give, sometimes they throw out some other ones. Those are really good. But then there's like no packs for the higher end people. Like, sure, you could buy skip tickets, and I've done it before because I've been super fucking lazy at times where I just want to go through a day, do as much content as possible in like an hour. And people are like, well, why would you use the skip tickets? Well, why wouldn't you save them? Well, maybe I don't want to play for 3 hours today. Maybe I want to, go out with the wife. So it's like I'll just do them all. And I feel like it's superstitious, but even like on the Ethereal Spirit, like the newest A rank unit, I have never gotten him off a non-skip. I've never done like a normal mission with him and just had him at the end. But I'll do a 10 pull, 10 skip, and I'll get him like once. It's like, well, fuck, I'll just do it that way. I mean, I'm doing it 10 times in a row, but if I don't know if there's like an algorithm at play that just kind of clocks it as you complete it, and because you're doing 10 separate completions in a row that you have a better chance, or whatever the mechanics would be. But you would definitely know more on that end because you've developed games before. You would understand the back end or the potential for it to some extent.
yeah, you mean just in terms of like the resources that they dole out and the time that they expect you to play
Mm-hmm.
versus like what you spend in the game. Yeah.
It's kind of like as an example, I used to play an MMO where the chance to get the success for the refinement was 1 to 100, and that was actually based off the server's internal clock. So if you did it, let's say at the start of the second, you rolled an 8, and that was good. You wanted a low number, but if you waited like an extra second or so, it would roll over to like a 56. It was very weird to time when you would do the enchantment. And these games have gotten better and smarter because they don't show you that anymore. They don't, because you could time every enchantment. Like you would fail one, and you would know exactly where that number was, and if you hit it quick enough, you would roll right over to the sweet spot. It's interesting. Like you don't see that anymore, and I can see why, because you can easily manipulate those things.
Right. Well, we only have like 6 folks. Is that normal?
Well, I usually stream later in the day. Generally, when we do late nights, we get a lot more people because you gotta realize right now. Well, it is Friday. Probably people are working.
Yeah.
We're weird birds, but I expect to get more residual on like when we throw this up on YouTube and things to that extent. Or if maybe
Right.
we'll switch this to like a prime time show for like Sunday night, something like John Oliver or some shit where we round out the week. But we'll, like I said, it's experimental right now. We'll play around with the time slots.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
If
we'll see. We'll
it
see what
makes
I
you
can
feel
do.
any better, we have more people than this one dude who plays randomized Dragon Quest all day.
It's good. Yeah, yeah, this is a weird time to be doing live, so appreciate whoever's here. Please troll us in the chat.
We are. I have
Uh,
to put on glasses now.
where is the cosplay? Virgin disappointment.
There
Oh,
you go. Done.
yeah, the virgin word. That'll surely trigger Kage in some way.
Damn versions on that damn Discord. Ah.
I will try not to shit on the source of that too hard today. I don't really have any beef there, but I mean that's one of the reasons why we're here, right? Uh, is like, can we stop getting some mediocre attitudes about the game? Let's actually talk about why it's good. So why don't we do that right now? It's a good game. I think it's a really good game. Um, for me personally, uh, the amount of time that it demands of you it fits perfectly with my life. I don't have time for an MMORPG. I barely have time to do like one match of League a night. But this game is so low maintenance for your energy and your time. It really is. Like, people have to understand, you know, the UI that they designed, the GUI, really, the what you interact with in the game. It's pretty darn efficient. It's not really snappy. It's a little bit sluggish, I would say, but the amount of clicks that you have to do in order to just basically grind or whatever, it's usually very minimal. It's like one, unless you're making changes to your party or you're doing some, account maintenance cleanup and all that. But compared to other gachas that I played, and the two major that I played are Raid Shadow Legends and War of the Visions Final Fantasy. Um, boy, especially compared to Final Fantasy, you have to do so many clicks in that game to do fucking anything. It's just like you have to confirm for the loot window, and then you have to go back to the repeat section. Then you hit repeat. Then you have to confirm your party. Then you have to confirm this and blah blah blah. It's like 5 or 6 clicks um, just for basic grinding, especially if you're doing multiplayer, right? Um, and I understand the game is a little bit more developed, a little bit of a bigger scope than Dragon Quest Tact, but Dragon Quest Tact is one button, hit the rematch, and you're good to go. Um, and the amount of ways that you can customize units is it's actually not that much. It's just like, other than Awakenings, which is a different animal, but you just level them up, you rank up their abilities, you teach them abilities, you put equipment on them. Equipment is super simple. You just gamble once, and then there you go. You just pick the one you want. Um, so it is casual friendly. It's casual time friendly, right? Like, no one would call me a casual probably, or you, but
I'd hope not.
time wise, I'm totally casual. And then my job, often I'm on the road, so it's the easiest thing in the world to just smash the rematch button whenever I hear the victory jingle play.
And the other thing that can be said about this game is too, there is an actual ceiling you can hit for the most part. You can actually get to where you've grinded out a lot of your units. You don't really have to do too much. You're down to working on a couple of new units every banner, or you're grinding out some awakenings, and then it just becomes really maintenance mode at that point, because you don't have to log in every day and do the same thing with this other game that doesn't have a plateau. Like, I've used to play Fist of the North Star, and in that game I would have to get on every day, have to do all these dailies, because there was no ceiling. They had fighter shards, and you wanted to max out characters. And after that, they had an EX system where you had to keep putting in shards with no cap. Like, you could just keep exponentially going. So, where people talk about how it's hard to get into this game, imagine playing a game where somebody's been there for a year and a half, and there is potentially zero way to ever fight them in arena or PvP or anything. You can't win. You just can't, because they've had a hold on the game for so long. And here, you can go into arena. If you play this game for like a month and a half, you can get a decent team assembled, and you could probably make top 500. I mean, realistically, that's not a hard thing to do if you have the units and you play carefully. I mean, you could hit some bad luck, but the games like that, I don't think you could hit top 500 if you were playing for 3 months after that fact, unless people quit. But they would still be
Yeah.
there. You can't, So I like the system.
Yeah. Yeah, you can get into this way easier than other gotchas, and yeah, like you said, I mean, you're gonna be behind in every single game that has a timetable. You're always gonna be catching up to day one players, and Kage and I are day one players. Um, but I would say the amount, like you just said, the ceiling is not as high, so the amount of distance you need to cover is so much less. And then you can just like right now, if you were to start the game, you could, if you had the patience for it, keep doing the reroll circuit where you actually do the account data deletion and then retry that way, and then you just keep going for just you get the gems and then you reroll for a sorrow, which is currently I think the best unit in the game. Maybe tied with Zoma and go for a sorrow and a dupe of sorrow. That is not hard. It's just grueling, if you have the patience to do that. And then after that you can do the retry banner. Is that thing still going where you can try and get two killing machines?
I think it is still going. I mean,
Yeah.
they never got rid of that. I think they just brought it back out. Plus, with the current, red and blue banner they have going on, you can also get Zoma again too. So it's not like you're
Yeah.
locked out of getting him either. So it's like, if you were
Yeah.
looking to do a new account, ideally this is probably the best time to get into the game because they are doing catch-up
Holy
mechanics for
shit. Yeah, I
people.
didn't think of that. You can get two sorrows. You can get one or two Zomas. If you want to keep trying your free tickets too, you can do that, right? Um, And then let's say you do that. Let's say you get two Saras, two Zomas, and two killing machines. Fuck it. You are good to go. All you got to do is level up now. And it takes time. You got to get through the story. You got to get through, you got to unlock all the farming quests and stuff like that. So just like in all things in life, and especially in gacha games, it takes time. You will get there. We were all there. We were all day one players with shitty beginner accounts. I started with jack shit. I started with, well, two KMs, and that was my start. What did you start with? What
So
was your
I
reroll?
had the two KMs and I got the Wick King. So that was my pretty much my team. Plus they gave me like three Devil Moths, so I used that little moth for like most of the story. And people were like, he sucks, and I'm like,
Oh,
no, he doesn't. Now
look
it's
at
like
look
he
at the top
sucks.
arena. Look at the top arena. Devil Moth is the best unit in the game.
Oh Jesus Christ! Don't get me started on
Spe-
that.
Especially if you put the wrong equipment on him. Like if you put like he's nature, so especially if you put demon or undead staff on him, then he really just dominates arena.
Well, you could always give Bone Baron the flail because
Yeah,
he
bone
loves physical
flail bone
attack.
baron, and then flail. What is it? Hybrid is the other one. Absolutely dominant arena teams, and make sure you don't level up their skills either. You got to keep their skills at like +0, +1. It's the perfect arena team.
Yeah, I
So
think you get like bonus pity damage for not doing that or some shit.
yes, yes. Anyway, that's talk for another time, maybe later in this hour. But more about why the game is good. So we like the commitment, the time commitment. One last note about that: War of the Visions. Fuck that game. It has raids, and to get +5 in order to be competitive in that game, you do have to have the maxed out gear, basically. Um, and I did play at that really competitive level. You to get a +5 in raids. If you were to ask a current War of the Visions player how that feels, they would say, "Oh, it's not too bad," because they've made improvements to it. But for the longest time, God, you had to dedicate like your entire life just to raids. Basically, you would do some content, spend any amount of energy on any content, and then you would proc a raid boss. Then you do the raid, which you can do solo or multiplayer. And in the raid, you have to. I mean, it's like you're playing a AAA $60 game. You have to really pay attention to what you're doing, or else you'll just not you'll not beat it.
And
And
then
I don't
that
have.
game had the rune system too, if I remember correctly. When I played it, like you had to plus up all these runes for each individual character and other things too. It was a lot of maintenance for just the little characters.
Yeah, the skill trees. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that was the job trees, which they derived directly from Final Fantasy Tactics, right? Which is cool. That is like one of my favorite games of all time is Final Fantasy Tactics. But that is a game that is something you expect to put that much effort into. right? Um, and I think they really wanted to maintain that, like, be loyal to that. So they even kept things like Brave and Faith, which is, I think, just completely nonsensical in the mobile game version. Um, but I think if you look at Dragon Quest Tact, I mean, they're not taking from like a tactics game as an inspiration like that one is, but they have properly designed a casual mobile game, right? So anyway, enough about that. So what's the next thing that makes the game good, Kage?
I would have to say the fact that you could take some really low end units and you could actually use them. Like when people joked about using F tiered Ghost in Arena, well, you can actually use F tiered Ghost in Arena, and he's a good little support. He can heal for like 100 and something. He
His
can
name is
even,
Shane's, but yes.
yeah, it's Shane's the Ghost. I've even had him at a couple of times save me from losing points. Like he's cleaned up a couple enemies for me. He's got good movement, and it's just like, well, you can do that with some of the C tiered units too. You don't have to have a full team of S rank units to win an arena. You can bring in like Tiger Cub, who
Yeah.
works in like even like the content right now. There's even a match where you can fight him with Ammon, and he does like 600 damage as a C rank unit because of his demon attack against them. It's this game when it advertised itself that every unit has purpose. For the most part, they do. I mean,
Yeah.
even if you can't use those units for like a physical fight, well, they go towards the mastery system. So you level them up, and then you end up having a an extra stat points for your better units in that family, right, Coco Cat?
That is like, yeah, that's like the bare minimum. If a unit has no other redeeming quality, there's some units, and there's tons of units in this game. It will at least give you master rank, which will benefit your stronger units. But pretty much every unit has, and you can check my tier list. We should have linked that. Has a use in the battle road, which gives you not only family rank but also ability scrolls, and it gives you really, really good armor. It's like the best armor we have, except for the liquid metal armor from the arena. So how is that not useful? That's really useful. It's also fun. I like the battle roads. I'm not, Plat. I think it's like his main thing. It's not my main thing, but it is it is worth mentioning. It's worth mentioning repeatedly to, especially to new people. Hey, every gotcha game you have has your, rarity levels, and you only end up using the strongest rarity levels. Sometimes they put weight limits on, but you know, this game, for as small scale as it is, has very much succeeded in making your whole roster useful in some way. You know, even if you're chasing CP, you just get like some crappy F or E unit, and then that gives you CP if you want. Um, and then like so it's not just battle roads. There's also um, just the fact that they're balanced in a way where let's look at C rank Klosserer. He's the C rank Frizzle user mage, a cat mage guy. Um, he's 20 weight. He's a C rank unit, and so he actually slots really really well into the current arena week because it's 200 weight. So if you have two 65 weight units and then one S unit, so say that's like Zoma, Sorrow, and White King, for example. Then you have 180 used. Now you only have room for 20, so you got to get a C rank unit in there. Boom, there you go. Klosser is very strong at using Frizzle. Now he is weak as hell. You don't want him to get hit by anything; he'll die. But you know, guess what? You can keep him out of range. All you gotta do is go to the menu. Fun little fact: go to the menu during your arena, then click on a enemy, and it shows you the enemy's movement and attack range. So just keep him out of that, and he can do a follow up frizzle on somebody that's weak, and it does like I don't remember, like 300 plus, and
Some, yeah.
that's like enough to at least top off. Like if you hit White King with Dragon Lord True Form's Fire, for example, oftentimes that's not quite enough to kill White King. But then if you follow that up with Frizzle from Klosserer, he's gone. That's dead White King, right? And then Klosser to pull his weight, he doesn't even have to do anything on turn one. Just stay out of enemy range. If all he does is kill White King on turn two, he has totally done his job, right? Um, So that's Arena, and then of course, and then look at Sorrow's Mountain, the event that is it still going? I think it's still
It's
going for a
still
few
going
more
for a
days.
couple more days. Yeah.
So, man, that triggered the hell out of me when people complained about this event. Hey, look at how it's using your whole roster. I wish they could, like War of the Visions, they can let you keep throwing units at content. Like if they all die, then just throw another party at it, like a War of Attrition. But look, they made it so that you can't just bring all of your 65 weight monsters to the same fight because then they'll be used, and then so you have to plan ahead. So you have to use 25 units to beat that event. That is a good thing, player base that uses your down roster, um, forces you to level up your A's and B's and C's um, to make that work. And that is what everyone had to do. Yes, I cleared it pretty quick. Um, I had to very carefully plan out. Look, I'm going to use Killing Machine and Hellion on very hard sorrow. So I had to just plan around that, you know. Um, anyway, blah blah blah.
Well,
So
yeah, there was definitely a couple of fights in the peak where I knew for very hard that I had to take some things out of the equation. Could I have cheesed a couple of fights and muscled things through? Yeah, but then I would have fucked myself on the back end for the main fight. And so I had to struggle through. I had to kind of figure out, okay, how can I make these things work? I couldn't just use Zoma for every fight to clear it. Just, we couldn't just use Hell Gladiator for every battle or any of those things. Instead, it was like, well, I needed to figure out what were like my heroes of the fight. Who was going to do the most DPS for each battle, and set them aside for that particular fight, and then
yeah,
build around that unit. And it took a lot of trial and error at first because we didn't understand how the units worked, what the mechanics were, because even the bottom left one, the Prusilis guy, that one was probably the hardest one to get through. I cleared him. I think I want to say after doing like Barbados, like the one where the whoosh damage the Lucifer clone, and he was like the one that just he was a wild card. Like I had like a really janky setup to beat him. I think at one point I had like two healers and some other things in there. And it was just like a really discount team because I didn't want to waste my Emperor slime in there. I wanted to save him for the main fight. And
yeah,
you had to do that. I mean, you couldn't just go around and just low your load on fight one. And some people maybe they did, and so then you had to go back and I liked how they didn't make it start over. Like you weren't locked in. You couldn't. You had to start completely from scratch. You could go, okay, well, you can try this again with a different team, and then we'll free up those guys. And also with the
yeah,
equipment too. They locked the equipment, which I thought was smart.
yeah. So you have to use more than just that same set that you can normally just bring to the arena, right? You just only use your best stuff. So,
Well,
man, there's so much bitching when that event came out.
like I had to do a video like, hey, you guys, as long as you get through hard mode, you can get all the medals. Like you can cheese it at that point. You get through hard, and then okay, well, if you don't want to clear it, you can go in guns blazing on each of those four barriers with your best teams and just beat them up to get the medals you need. Because people are like, oh my god, I can't do this. How do we get this done? Well, yeah, I could agree if you can't beat very hard with what you're working with box wise, but you can definitely muscle these fights instead of trying to get the icon and get the scroll. Well, here's your orb, and that's the thing that most people care about. So it's like after I put that video out, people were like, "Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know we could do it that way. I thought we were completely boned." Like, no, the game gives you options, which is great. I like options.
Options are good. Options are good. Oh, that reminds me. So if I ever start doing YouTube content, I'm going to consider doing. I don't think this is kosher. This is against TOS, but account takeovers um, to see if I can beat. Like if you're one of these guys who likes to troll me about how I don't have perspective because I'm a whale, or that I can only beat stuff because of spending, send me your account and I'll beat stuff on your account. And if you don't want to do that, just send me like screenshots of what you have, and I'll roast your account on YouTube and tell you why you are not beating it. Like if you send me your account and it's and there's two elements of this game. There's managing your resources and the units that you have, and then there's using it in battle, right? And so if you suck at the managing part, there's not much I can do. Like, so there's two elements. But yeah, put your money where your mouth is, and I'll beat it for you. And then I don't know, I don't know, respect me.
Duh,
That's all.
nah, they're
That's all
not
I
gonna
ask.
do. Let's be
That's all I
honest,
ask.
they're not gonna do that.
Yeah, I know, I know, I know. But yeah, like when I say something like, "Well, that's actually not true," or "Oh, there I am being the actually guy." When I
Okay,
when I tell you
Lucas.
something about the game, uh, so you guys ever see that meme where it's like a guy who's sweating and then there's two red buttons with contradicting outcomes? You know what I mean? Like, oh, I can't remember what the origin, but so the one of them is Nibb only clears content um, because he is a whale, and then the other one is oh fuck, I lost it. Basically, yeah. Just I'll probably be doing that at some point at YouTube. So at least doing like an account roast. I would love to do an account roast. So just send me your like, why can't I beat it? And I'll do it live.
And I feel like a lot of that boils down to people don't understand some of how the AI works. Like I talked to a guy the other day, and he's like, "Well, I saw your video where you did the EX hero with 4 units, and Ragnar didn't behave the same way he did. He always comes up and he kills my Zoma." Well, if the AI knows it can instantly take out your unit, it's going to change its behavior. And also, if you don't do enough damage, well, it could also change its behavior there too. You have to put enough pressure on it, and you also have to make sure that it doesn't know it can take out a unit. So you may have to use like extra armor on your units to kind of replicate the effects of the Max Awakenings to
Mhm.
be able to do those things. Now, are most people going to have like a Max Awakened Zoma, Wit King, and all that shit? Probably not. But could you still mimic some of the results with the 5 party team? Yeah, I think you could.
Mhm. And if not, maybe you didn't level up your skills.
That's a potential, especially if you do the arena on your top
Yeah.
ranking.
And if you don't have the books to level up your skills, maybe you didn't pay attention to the obvious resource costs of the game and plan ahead a little bit. If it's forgivable if you're brand new, but like if you've been playing since day one and like, oh, I can't, there's no books. There's been two book events and they're always available anyway. So, you know,
Plus,
that
I'd
is,
say I'd say realistically, you could get most of your skills to 5 or 6 with not a lot of problems. I'd say
yeah,
a worst case scenario, you'd have to spend maybe 30 bucks to get to 6, and that's like
yeah,
worst case scenario. Now, after that, that's a whole other set of bananas. You could be spending, 200 to 300 bucks to get from 6 to 10, but that at that point, you should know where you need to get the damage. If you've done the fight, you take a look at things, you see what you're missing, and then it's like, well, do I need to level the unit? Do I need more awakenings on the unit? Do I need different units in the fight? Or do I need to realistically just take a look at the positionment and see what I can do to buy more time? It's one of those 4 things generally.
yeah. It doesn't take much to get to +6. It takes a little bit to get to +8. I think even +8 is not even that bad. Like 9 and 10 are where it really gets shitty with resource costs. But I mean, that's like they don't increase what you get the higher you get. It's the same increment each time. So if all you do is get to +8, that's 80% of your possible gains on just that skill, and that should probably be enough for most content.
Right, and if it's not at that point, well, it's okay. Well, you have 4 other units that you can do this too. So I mean, if you're losing 1,000 HP, or you need to make up 1,000 HP somewhere to win the fight, well, okay, where can I go to do this? Well, is it weapon rerolls? Do I need to look at what weapons I'm using and max those out? Is it the skills themselves? Is it the skill choices? I mean, it could be something as simple as just the turn order. Like
Right.
I like going back to that one fight with the heroes, because I've noticed that turn one, you could, if you position your units a specific way, you can box Elena out of doing anything and still get a bunch of damage in. Like she just buffs herself and she walks over and she can't do anything. And
Right.
it's like, well, you bought yourself a lot of time right there, and it's trial and error. You have to play around, don't try doing the same thing 30 times over, hoping for like an RNG sleep or something. If you can clear it another way, please
Yeah,
don't. That's awful.
careful with trial and error, because we know who doesn't like that mechanic.
Yeah.
But
Who's chased for
uh,
500?
oh. I mean, yeah, that's what everybody has to do. Like everybody. I mean, I think I cleared it on the first try, but um, that's just from looking at videos beforehand. And like you were saying, yeah, don't do the same thing and just hope for an RNG and crit, and then go on the Discord and say you can't beat it without a crit. Like, yeah, if you are copying the strategy of somebody who puts a video online, and let's say you don't have exactly the same awakenings that they have, chances are you will not succeed. So you have to think of your own way of doing it. And as we have stated so clearly, that Dragon Quest Tact is one of the best games for allowing you to do that. There's so many different ways to beat the content, and there's been some prophecies about some future content, and you know the sources are very reliable, but you know we don't know how they're going to release it in global. Um, it could be nerfed, or it could be a little different, or we could have different mechanics available that Japan didn't have.
Like rank
Um,
6 early?
yeah, rank 6 early, that changed Dragon Quest 4 completely. And I think the only real prophecy that was said from the Japanese players was you have to have Wordle as a tank, which is that turned out to be absolutely true for the Pissarro fight. But there's also some content that's being talked about in the future, that like level 50 Dragon Tower, for example. That's the one that sticks out in my mind. Is you have to have this and this and this and this unit. And you know what? Fuck, I don't know. I don't have the Japanese version of the game, so I can't take this to court. But maybe that prophecy is 100% right. But you know, the prophecy currently is that you have to have Slanheart, Dragwar, Seraphi, Sorrow, and I think one other unit to beat that. So you have to have those specific limited units. And I think maybe the one that you can't live without in that fight is Seraphi, and apparently that happens to a lot of because she has the free heal passive. And yes, I understand the value of Seraphi. She's probably the best PvE unit in the game, maybe in the whole lifetime of the game, right? Just because of that. Um, but still, like I'm not gonna just say you can't beat that content without Seraphi. You just can't say that in global. Um,
Well,
you
yeah,
know,
because I mean, well, right now, look what could happen. It could be the same thing as before. We could get rank 7 early, which then changes up the whole dynamic again at that point, or we can get certain skill trees earlier for certain units, and there's definitely a timeline divergence with this game with us and
yeah,
JP, which is great because it throws people off guard. It makes things a little bit more interesting for everybody. Even people who've played the Japanese version, they've came over here. Well, now they're even having a different experience from before too, which that's great. That's what we want. We don't want to go down the same rabbit hole path because then it's like, well, then we really do have to take you for face value when you say, well, you can't do this way. Here, it's like, well, we're
yeah,
gonna wait and see. We'll see what happens because we don't know, and I like that.
yeah.
I like not knowing.
We don't know. I would love it if we didn't have the foresight that and everyone's gonna shit on me for that, but I don't know. They shit on me for everything anyway. So, if we didn't have the foresight that Japanese players have, like, oh my God, don't you want to have that foresight? No, I don't really. No, I don't. I like the mystery. I like the surprise. I mean, that is what this whole game is. It's designed to play on your brain chemicals that go off of surprise and disappointment, frustration, and reward. Part of that is the mystery of it. Um, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah, I mean, I've used to play MMOs back in the day where people were like, "Well, I played the Chinese version of this game. I know what to do," and then a month later, they're gone. They quit. They got to max level. They were done with the game because they were so used to content that was out in their version months before. Meanwhile, I'm like, "Oh, this game is great. Like, I've never played any of this stuff. This is awesome. Oh, there's going to be some new stuff down the road. Okay, cool." And I stay
yeah.
with that game for like a year. I like, so it's just I like not knowing. It's I know people are going to shit on me too for that, but it's I like having a unique experience as opposed to cheating myself on that experience in a version where I couldn't read anything. Fuck that. No,
You,
thank you.
a unique experience.
Yeah.
There's a lot of value in that. Going back to shitting on War of the Visions. At the competitive level, everyone has the same stuff because in global they do because they saw they have the foresight of Japan being 6 months ahead there as well. Um, and so right around the time when I quit, there was like 3 units that everyone brought to every single PvP match. And I don't even think that happens now in Japan in Arena. Like there seems to still be variety in what people use in top end content. I mean, there's some exceptions. Like everyone says that Seraphy is amazing for PvE, and everyone says that Sorrow is amazing for PvP, and I agree with that. But generally speaking, not everyone uses the same stuff, and not everyone should use the same stuff. Like you should figure out what you like thematically. Like if you really like dragons and you really like breath attacks, there is right now not the best meta for that, but there eventually will be. With the Dimension Dragon, you could put him in a party with Great Dragon and who else? Halberd Saurus. Uh, I'm probably not. I'm probably forgetting somebody, but
I
you can
mean,
have some
I say
really good
Dread
breath
Dragon,
attacks.
but his MP consumption is kind of janky. You really need to have him up there in the Awakenings to make him work, and I think that's why people aren't as forgiving with him.
Right. Right. I mean, he's probably the worst limited S, but
Yeah,
he still has a use. He still has an A ranked Sizz breath attack. I don't know why they didn't just give him the one that Halbertsaurus has. That was kind of weird. Why not make it a fan shaped one, and then he would be so much better.
well, I
You know.
think what happened is back when the game was first coming out, I mean, Arena wasn't probably even set in stone at that point, so they were trying to think of good rewards to give for Arena. And
Right.
realistically, I think Dread Dragon was like the second limited banner that they had ran at the time, or the first, I forget. So he was
Yeah.
kind of like a trial. So it was a little bit different then.
Yeah. I think for them it was like Dragon Lord, then Dread Dragon,
Mm-hmm.
then True Form. So
And then Arena came like 3 or 4 months afterwards. So
right. Right.
that
Right.
that tells me that they didn't really have that much thought in at the beginning, and then they realized they really had something with this game, and it just blew up because look at all the improvements that are coming down the way from the roadmap we have from what they're
Yeah.
getting. It's crazy.
Yeah. That's good. So we're 17 minutes out. Um, good segue to the future. We want to talk about the future a little bit. So another reason why this game is good and you should stick with it and continue to support it. Um, the good side of having the Japan foresight is we know that we're getting giant monsters fights. And the cool part about those is they actually give you. There's two things that separates those from the normal PvEX content. Is they give you a graphic on the battlefield as to where the monster is going to hit. So you can move around strategically as they're charging up that skill. And then the other thing is the monster has multiple hit points. And sometimes they have specific weak spots, which I think is awesome. I've never seen that in a gacha game where you have such a large area we can hit. And then, for example, the most recent one has like a middle, a side, and in the middle and two sides, like three weak spots. If we hit that, it does way more damage. You can hit like 9999 if you do a weak attack or exploit a weakness attack. And then even if there's no weak spots, you still have like a giant range. So if you're doing AoE, like a big huge AoE like Cedo has in the future, it hits them the exact amount of times for the tiles that the AoE hits. So it's pretty cool.
Ooh, so Baramos
Um,
is going to be real good then, is what
yeah,
you're telling me.
yeah, Baramos is going to be great for the Bjorn fight. It'll hit him 5 times with that kaboom. And then if there's a weak spot that comes up, and I think that's still weak to boom or bang, then compress kaboom on that one spot. It'll probably hit him for 9999. So, and I think they have like 100,000 hit points or something like that. So, you're in it for the long haul. But so there's the giant monsters. You got rank 7. Please don't do rank 7 for a while. We're still kind of recovering from rank 6. We still don't have any gold. But by the way, you can just wait and get more gold. That's what time does. Um, but rank 7, that'll be another thing in the future that will give us more room to customize. It doesn't take orbs for everybody that wants to have a fucking heart attack about orbs every 5 seconds. You just need to get through the rank 6 barrier, spend the orbs to get to 6, and then you can get to rank 7. Um, I think it just takes a lot of gold and a new type of sphere or something like that. You also have the tower, which I don't know if there's a permanent tower or is it just the event based ones that they have.
So I think there was an event-based one. I'm not sure if they decided to do a permanent one. I know there is going to be some specific trials that are coming out with like Orochi. He's going to be permanent. People have said that that's not going to be easy content, and that's going to be you're only going to have X amount of tries per week. But that's great. That's great to have all these extra things coming down the way. And just the one thing I hate about people is I've never heard people bitch about too much content until I played this game. I mean, I'm the guy who will, if I don't have enough to do, I'll take my ball and go somewhere else. I'm like, oh, I'm bored. Fuck this game. I'm out. Here it's
Okay.
like, hey,
Yeah. So I gotta say, great way to start a sentence is Kage saying that's one reason I hate about, or one thing I hate about people. So we just do a whole show on that, right?
yeah, oh yeah, I could go on for an hour.
There is notably a lot more histrionics about Dragon Quest Tact, and I think, and again, I don't want to just like lay a broad brush. I've enjoyed a lot of folks. I think it's just a vocal minority that have really been unfair with this game. They haven't looked at the whole big picture. Just my personal experience of I don't have enough gold or I don't have the units to do this one thing. Therefore, the game sucks my dick, right? I guess what we're doing now is inviting people to open up their mind about that. And I guess point out examples of other games that don't do it nearly as well. Um, so
Well, one major example I can give you is in Fist of the North Star. People crying about gotcha rates here and being unfair. Well, how they pitted everybody against each other to make money. Their events were based off of who spent the most money, essentially who did the most pulls. Top 30 people did the most pulls, got extra shards for those fighters. Good fucking luck, because there was a Saudi oil baron on my server, never got anywhere close to first. There are people like
a Saudi oil baron, is that what you
that's
said?
what he called himself. He called himself the Saudi oil baron, and I'm like, we factored in some of what he was spending for things, and it's like he dropped
Apparently
like
we had
20K like in a
apparently
month.
we have a real baller in our it's Altimolno. Altimolno one. I don't know if he's a Saudi oil baron, but he's doing something right.
He probably owns Tesla in China or something.
There you go. There you go. By the way, you, and me, and him, and not even him because he's in China. He's a Chinese person, and he lives in China. He just happens to speak really good English, and he hangs out with us in a Discord. But I think you and me are the only like people who live in the West who are in the top 20 CP. You know, so and unless because there's some English names in top 20 CP that are not yours and mine, but I think some of those probably still are East Asian players, which I think is a huge positive, by the way, because if the people in Discord are having their fucking panicky Pete attacks every day about how the game is going out of business, and if you just go by the top 20, there's 10 times more East Asian players than there are Western players in this game. China and Korea are probably funding most of the game right now.
And they're spending hard. We had people like Wiz who used to play this game, and then he got derailed. Dude had like max awakening for everything. Like this guy dropped some real money, came in early, played, left, and you're gonna have that with people too. You're gonna have people, and at some point, what's to say he won't come back when things die down in his other game and spend again?
Right.
Because this game leaves the door open for you to come back, especially with these catch-up banners they're doing. Like 6-month anniversary is probably going to be the biggest one where we'll see the most influx of return players. If I had to
Yeah,
say,
totally.
and
You
that's
guys want to do it?
yeah down the road. What next
If
month?
you want to do a fun experiment, look at the leaderboards for the question mark, triple question mark family, and the hero family to see who are the whales who we don't know about, but they have all those units. I'm not top ranked on either of those right now, and I have all of the question mark units. Um, so I mean, there's some probably people that have outspent us significantly that just happen to not have grinded up the rest of their units, so they don't have top 20 CP. So
Right, because people play the game differently. Some people's objectives
yeah,
are, well, I want to have a strong arena team, so I'm going to work on this, or I want to just work on being like the master of one family. So they'll devote scrolls, time, everything to just farm up all the awakenings for that one group just to get that ranking. And
right,
that's great. I mean, the game gives you, again, options. You can
yeah,
be the
options.
best of a subset. You can be the best of slime. You can be the best of beast. You can, do all these things, still have your name up there. And those people are still spending too. You don't get that for free. You don't be the best of a subset for free. It's just you have to spend some sort of money on there, and that's great. That's that's a good way to get people to spend because
Yeah.
that's what a lot of games do. They use multiple servers and they have people compete against each other. Here we don't have that. Everybody's on one server, but there's multiple boards to compete against, so you have people fighting for those boards to spend money. So it's good.
I know I always bring up Umaro in these videos, but he's just an example of I want to know how much he spent. Like probably not that much. I think maybe he's just a passport and a tact card guy, but correct me if I'm wrong. I have no idea.
He's
But
definitely dropped a lot on the Jaguar banner from what I
okay.
remember.
Okay.
So
That was important. Draguar is an amazing unit and it's a beast, so he has to get Draguar. Um, you know, um, that was he was the biggest pain in the ass spending way. I think I spent $1,000 getting Draguar maxed. So that was the biggest spend for me so far in this game. So, but the way he plays, he didn't have to get Draguar. He can just be the beast guy, right? And so guess what? He probably has an overabundance of orbs because he's not spending them on other families. Like maybe he wants to get like Zoma up or something. He knows better than I do. But like if everyone just plays like I don't know everyone, but if you like feel like you can't keep up, just consider you don't have to. You can. Omaro clears content quickly, right? He was one of the first to clear Sorrow's Peak. In fact, it was like day two. It was still within 24 hours of the event, but he and I were actually racing to see who would get it first. And I had to work and I had to take care of my kids, so I thought maybe it would be him. Um, and actually, I cleared one of the hard, very hard ones because of a strategy that he came up with, right? So um, he's just living example. It can be done. You don't have to blame whales. You don't have to blame the devs. The devs make some boneheaded decisions about this game, yes, but um, your ability to clear content, they have given you the tools. They have. So um, I want to go back. You mentioned something about like options. So um, there's been some disagreements in the community about the speed at which they release content, and we're talking about the future still kind of. And the last thing was skill trees, but that's we don't know much about that yet. Um, but the speed of the release content is, hey, I'm not quite done with this event. Like it's only a month, and then like other people are like it's a fucking month until I get new stuff. So I like to compare this to the fast lanes and the slow lanes and the highway. If everyone's going slow, then the people who want to go fast can't go fast. So only one group of people has options, and really nobody has options because it's slowed down, right? Um, oh, okay. Risefall is trolling. Anyway, yeah, show your face on here, big guy.
he
Anyway,
has. It's nothing to look at.
didn't Lol yet said that? Anyway, um, so if it's fast, now instead of nobody having options or just the slow people have options, everybody has the option. Because if it's fast, you can still go slow. You have that choice. And then the people who want to go fast can go fast. And then I also had regarding this pack that came out in JP. I have basically cooled off from that. I don't care about it as much. Um, but it's it's just amazing to me that the reason because people have these justifications for why we shouldn't all get the pack as an option, right? The $100 pack that Japan got that's like has 3 orbs and 100,000 gold. It's amazing value, and I think to me that's just cope for I can't afford the $100 pack, and now I have to think of reasons why nobody should get it, right? Like well, it's because Japan has further along and they have more units to level up. It's like yeah, but they also have more resources, So you don't really.
More
That's
time.
not a valid. That's not and time. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not a valid argument. Um, or I don't want whales to have access to it because I can't catch up. It's like they didn't release it, so you got what you wanted. But
Yeah.
I thought that was a problem because I want this company to thrive and I want the game to succeed. And I think that they should be offering people who want to pay for things the opportunity. But again, I've withdrawn my complaint about that. It's fine. So
So here's what happened to me, and thank you for the sub. Uh, I was doing the live stream. We got off there. We went to the event, started playing the game. The first thing I did after I got all the goodies was I instinctively went to the package area to see what, oh, okay. Because I had no idea what the packages were yet. On my mind, I'm thinking, okay, they're doing a new update. They're bringing out a lot of goodies. There's going to be something extra for me to grab. So I go into the package area, and I'm like, there's nothing here. What the fuck happened? Like, and that's just, they've trained me. They've trained me to look in that area. And the one time I look in that area and I don't get anything, I'm like, well,
Yeah,
I
it's
would have
like
spent some money that day. I would have threw in some extra,
what are they doing? What are they doing? Are they trying to run a business or not? So
Well, especially after I got my Bizarro, I was like ready to throw down some more at that point. So I was like, okay, well let's do this. It's like, no, there's nothing else in there.
for
Oh
those
well,
of you who
okay.
spent money to chase Sorrow, Kage got him from a silver ticket upgrade for free.
God bless America.
Yeah, but now you have to get him awakened. So
Yeah, now I gotta spend money. Fuck. Wife's over here like, you son of a bitch.
you're gonna get jaxed.
Oh, I'm totally
F's in
gonna get
chat.
jaxed.
F's in chat for Jax, please. Anyway,
Ah, shit.
hey, we're coming up. We're coming up here. It's about 2 minutes out. I am at a hard break, but let us know what you think. If you want, what subjects you want us to talk about. Um, I am fucking brand new at this. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So I know a lot about the game, but not about content creation. So what I want to do is help the game. I want people to know why it's good and be enthusiastic about it, and curb all of the histrionics and hubris that comes about it. So, also I'm going to upload stuff on YouTube. So there's my YouTube. It has nothing, literally nothing. I just created it. So, I'll probably do like maybe a special about my tier list, or unit highlights or news highlights or something like that. But maybe we'll just do that on this podcast. So, anything else you want to say wrapping up?
I think realistically we covered a lot today. I'm trying to think if there's anything else besides we went over why the game was good, the future of the game itself, the fact that Chase can go fuck himself. I'm trying to think if there's anything else important we need to hit. Yeah, it's become a staple to just kind of punch him at the end of everything I do now. I'm an
Hey,
awful person.
he was nice to me. He was nice to me on his debate, which is one of the reasons why people didn't like it because I didn't get pissed off at him. So I got no personal beef. I just definitely disagree with. I need orbs.
He was nice to you, treated you pretty good, except for interrupting you every fucking chance he got.
Yeah, and so that's everyone should shut the fuck up about me because I put up with that for 2 hours. You wouldn't. Nobody else would do that.
No, that would have been 5 minutes in. I would have told him to go fuck his mother.
Yeah, I think I
I'm
did actually make
combative.
one mama joke about him, but anyway,
That's okay. I'm sure he'd make a great mother someday.
right on. Okay, I got to go. Thanks, everybody.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks, Nibb, for joining. We're going to do this again. We are going to look to see exactly when we should do this. We may do it later in the day next. Again, it's a trial time. We'll play around with this. I do like the time. Maybe Sunday. We'll see about Sunday at noon or Sunday later in the day. We'll have this up on YouTube. I think I got all of it down. I might have missed a little bit. We'll see. I'll make sure it's uploaded there. Nibb's information will also be on the YouTube as well. And we'll go from there. And we're definitely going to do this weekly. And we'll see about having some other people on the show at some point. And yes, fix the stream. I agree, Rise. Wait, well, I thought you played with 5 FPS, Rise. Anyway, I will see you guys next time. Take it easy. And, well, yeah, I already said fuck you, Chase. We're good. Peace.